For many people, their most anticipated game of 2022 would have to be Horizon Forbidden West. Not many games today offer such a unique experience that Horizon Zero Dawn offered back in 2017 when it launched, introducing us to probably one of the most likable characters that I can think of in recent games, in Aloy, and in a game to where every single fight felt like it was straight from an action movie where you're fighting machines that are animals, but they're actual robots that are prehistoric and present animals. It was truly a masterpiece 5 years ago, and I myself was very hyped for this game. To start off with what is the bread and butter of this game, what gives it that jazz, what gives it that finesse, I want to start off with the combat. In my opinion, what made Horizon Zero Dawn so great was the combat. Every single fight you were in felt like it was scripted, and not in a bad way. Fast forward to 2022 and its sequel, I can't say that the fights have that same magic. A lot of the enemies in Forbidden West just feel very tedious and they feel like they're bullet sponges. And keep in mind, I played on normal and I played on very hard. So I have the best of both worlds, and I didn't feel like it had the magic that Zero Dawn did. And it's due in large part that I feel like whatever statistics they were seeing, they took the gameplay that people had in Zero Dawn and they were like, hey, they're killing these machines too quickly, and they changed all of that up, and they took what was very hard or ultra hard in Horizon Zero Dawn and they applied that to normal in this game. I feel like the combat, it wasn't a downgrade because the combat is very, very similar, but what makes it bad is that the fights don't feel scripted. You can't go into a fight and be like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and you will win that battle easily. Instead, you have to do A, B, C, D, and then take a break because some of the enemies will burrow underground, and you have to wait. And then you have to do what alphabet letter did I leave off on, whatever. The fights don't feel scripted. They just feel slow. I wish the combat was as fluid as it was. The power trip you felt on Horizon Zero Dawn is what's missing with the new game. I'll give you an example of why the combat feels repetitive and tedious. There's a machine in this game that's called a Grimhorn. You have to do it for a certain mission to where you have to kill 2 of them. Point being, they shoot a giant fireball and it does have one-hit kill potential. There's a new enemy called the Clamberjaw who shoots 3 fireballs, but they are in a horizontal pattern. So as you can see, having an enemy shoot the same type of fire, except one's 1 ball and one's 3 spread out, you can get the picture that these machines are similar. And I feel that part of what made the combat maybe a little too tedious was that they carried over every machine, or at least close to 99 if not 100% of every machine from the previous game. And again, I'm not saying it would have fixed it, but I'm saying if you would have removed some of the previous enemies from the first one and not had them in this game and gave those abilities to other machines, then maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't have felt as repetitive. I know there are a lot of people out there, all 2 of you who are probably watching this review, and you're saying, well, James, when you upgrade things, it makes the fighting better. And I say to that, I have 200 hours in this game, and I still had no desire to go and kill the types of machines needed for the upgrading of resources, because the upgrade system in this game and the components required are the absolute worst I have ever seen in any video game. A lot of the weapons, you can get 1 upgrade. You can get level 1, but if you want level 2, you're going to have to go out of your way to fight the biggest machines in the game. And it goes back to part 1 of this review with the combat system. I had no desire to go and kill the machines that were the biggest in the game. To upgrade some of the things, you would have to remove specific components off of a machine. For some of the components, you would have to not remove the components off of the machine, and some of those components were their weak points. So it's like if you want to take a machine down quickly, hit its weak points, but you're not getting the resources needed to upgrade. Whereas other times it's like you can shoot the machine and remove the resources, but it's still a big enemy. You're not going to be able to kill it quickly. I'm just saying that no one wants to be on level 2 to upgrading a purple bow and having to kill the biggest, baddest machine in the game. Like, why would you not think to reserve that for the very last level? And I will give them the benefit of the doubt. There is a customization option in the game if you play on custom difficulty to where you can specifically change it. If you kill any machine, you can obtain all of the resources from that machine when the machine is dead. The combat system in this game paired with the upgrade system are two of the downfalls of it. What if I told you about a game that was like sitting through the autobiography of every person you meet? But before I go too far, let me just praise the story of this game. I believe that Horizon Forbidden West did better than what Horizon Zero Dawn did. The writing, the side characters, the side quest, everything felt like it mattered in this game. Like, yeah, in the first one, you could help your companions. You did side missions for them, but they literally felt like side missions. Whereas in Forbidden West, they felt like they were a subsequent part of the main story that wasn't necessarily needed to continue, but it still felt like you wanted to help them because, you know, they help you. You help them, and it just helps advance the narrative of the game. But with that being said, there were times literally when I played this game and I would be on my phone looking at news and texting just because the dialogues were so long. I mean, you would think in some parts you can be like, okay, that conversation can stop there. And there's actually a few instances where Aloy's like, well, hold on there. Before we move on, I want to ask some questions. No, Aloy, we do not want to ask questions right now. Questions are for autobiographies. This is a combat game. This is an action adventure game. I don't want to know their life story. But me being the completionist that I am, I listen to their life story. You could be sitting there for 40 minutes. And this isn't skipping dialogue, you know? This is doing a main mission, then going into the open world and doing side quests that aren't related to the side quest characters in any way, that aren't related to people in Aloy's clique, if you will. And then you come back to your base. It's like you were gone for 10 years and it's a family reunion and you're catching up on every little detail. Like I said, I love the story in this game, but where there's praise, there's still a downfall. So I'm very interested to see where the future games go, and I hope there will be a sequel. I mean, without giving you spoilers, because I want this to be a spoiler-free review, there are issues that are glaring issues that aren't resolved in this game. And as I said, some story arcs open up new branches because we're spreading seeds with this. So I'm very interested to see what the future holds for this game, because it could go in a very, very unique direction. I guess time will only tell though. Now that we're talking about the open world and the open world activities, I just want to say something right now. I hate Machine Strike. I mean, I loathe it. I put it off until close to the very end of my second playthrough on Very Hard. I played it twice on my first playthrough for the trophy. By the end of it, I was using a strategy to where you use one piece and one other piece, sacrifice the one piece, and because of the way the AI plays, you can pretty much win with one piece. I wasn't actually playing the game. I was just making the AI lose. With that being said though, with Machine Strike, I want to commend this open world. The game itself is absolutely gorgeous. Part of what made the first game great in the open world was going from bandit counts and just, you know, finding something somewhere. You can go in any direction and you will eventually find something on the map in the open world. And this game is no different. There were new things introduced into this game, relic ruins being one, to where they're miniature puzzles, if you will. They're not really puzzles, but you have to figure out how to get to a certain place in the ruins. The bandit camps returned, and as I said, machine strike is there. There are many different things in the open world that you can do. Hunting grounds returned. Honestly, if you just want to buy this game just for the open world, you would get your money worth. You could play hours upon hours of this game, surveying every type of landscape there is, going from forest terrains to deserts to snowy mountains. The one thing that this game did, aside from the story, part of what made the first one great was the open world, being able to just go in any direction and doing anything. And this game has that plus more. Say no to machine strike, kids. Say yes to relic ruins, hunting grounds, cauldrons, bandit camps. But the open world in this game, absolutely perfect. Riding your mount in the first game was a chore. A lot of times you would be better off just running there, because your mount will get stuck on the most little thing, the most little pebble in the road that you can throw a mile. Your mount, your machine that you ride, will absolutely be afraid, like a horse going through water. Some horses are afraid of water, some aren't. Your mount is afraid of a pebble, that's for sure. The mount problem in this game is very much unneeded, unnecessary, and any negativity Guerrilla Games gets because of it is well deserved, because this was a problem that was in the first one. And did they fix it? No, it still feels exactly like I'm riding my first mount in the first one. And for me, some of the times when I was riding my machine, you can hit X to sprint or speed up your machine. It was like worked 10% of the time. And the sprinting on the mounts just didn't work sometimes. The second part to this, because I want to kind of group these into the same thing, because they're open world, right? But they're not actually open world, is the platforming. Platforming in this game, again, was like the previous one. I actually feel like the first one was better at platforming. It's like they put so many things you can climb in this game that the coding is just so convoluted with climbing that you want to go up, you're going left. You want to go right, you're going down. And sometimes you will see a cliff, you're like, there's the top. I just want to hit X to get to the top. And it's like a 2-inch climb, but Aloy can't climb to the top. You specifically have to go to the left just to go up. I very much did not like the climbing, and that's the problem. There are so many minute things in this game that add up, from the climbing, the mount. The combat isn't minute. Some of the machines are easy to kill, some of them aren't, but the ones that aren't, add to it. And once you get so many of these things together, you're just like, okay, my experience is starting to get derailed a little bit. You're not hating the game, you're just hating what's happening in that moment. And there are a lot of moments like that, but there's a lot of enjoyable moments too. Horizon Forbidden West isn't a bad game by any means. I overall enjoyed the game. I genuinely wish I didn't have to rate this game based off of story and combat. It's like the reverse The Last of Us Part 2. I absolutely hated The Last of Us Part 2's story and loved the combat. I genuinely loved the story in Horizon Forbidden West, and I didn't hate the combat. I just wish it was the same as Horizon Zero Dawn, and unfortunately it wasn't. Horizon Forbidden West didn't improve on some of the problems that Zero Dawn had. Your experience will differ from day to day. Some days you might experience climbing to where you can't stand it and it's a 7.5, and other days you're like, the combat today wasn't that bad, and you know, it takes it up to an 8 or 8.5. And then the next day you're back to the 7.5. This game suffers from being bipolar. Some of the things are great about it, some of the things are bad. Some of the things that are bad can be good, but then some of the things that are good will one day be bad. I honestly feel conflicted in rating this game It's a great game that suffers from not being as polished as it can be. But with that being said, taking everything into account, if you enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn, you're going to enjoy this game. Horizon Forbidden West definitely sits at a 7.5 to an 8, and that's why I'm going to give it 2 reviews, an 8 and a 7.5. As I said, your experience will differ from day to day. But if you enjoyed the first, you should definitely pick this one up because you won't regret playing what is a wonderful addition to Horizon Zero Dawn.